Going for a 4-4-2.
He didn't know what was going on in the room.
Elias managed to refrain from swearing.
He said, if you've got a problem with me, let's sort it out in the gym.
He's exactly the same as well. The thing is...
Oh, come on! Come on! Where has that come from?
Yeah.
They brought through the door. You know, you look at the...
What a performance. What, you know, the guys...
That was ruled off. Quite a stupid thing, but
Live from Style Space at the Supporters Club. Right.
But he was getting a bit tired, I thought.
Come on! Here we go! Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Go!
West Ham are joint 7th in the Premier League. We are 4 points from second place team Liverpool. Yes, you have heard me correct. We are 4 points from the second place Liverpool. West Ham have just beaten Burnley at the London Stadium, the first time in 3 attempts, and we finally got the 3 points. My name's Anton, this is West Ham United. Keep the comments coming in, hit the thumbs up, and yeah, still 3 points again, mate. Moyes is working
3
his
points, and as the comment has been made here, I didn't realise it was 4 clean sheets in a row.
Yeah, if you include Stockport.
Oh no, well you don't.
You do. You've got to, mate.
4 Premier League clean sheets in a row.
Yeah, no, I think it's 3 Premier League clean sheets in a row now.
Sorry, 3. Yeah. So we're looking for the magical 4. So if anybody in the chat knows the last time we got 4 clean sheets in a row in the league, let us know. Because,
can I ask you a question then, straight up off the cuff?
Go on.
Is it to do with this man? Is it? I mean, listen.
Well,
listen. Let's give the man credit where credit's due. He's played 4 times. He's had 4 clean sheets. It's not all about the one player. We can't remotely deny, though, he's not stepped into that position, and he has absolutely played out of his skin, mate. We were saying during the Matchday Live. I mean, he had a bloody nose. He just gets involved in absolutely everything, and he was so effective again today. He nullified any of Burnley's threats. Yes, the whole back line did. Augie had a fantastic game as well. Creswell had a great game. Soufal had a great game. But Dawson was stand out in that back line.
He's really built up a great partnership with Ogbonna, isn't he?
Yeah.
And they're doing the business. Yeah. It's really it's quite astonishing, really, when, Seth and I were talking about at the tail end of the Matchday Live. We were talking about how I didn't think Tarkowski was all that. He was all right, but he wasn't all that. And what would you have done at the beginning of the season if you remember the outcry, including myself, the outcry of saying, why are we not paying the money for Tarkowski when he could be our, we needed that solidity in defence, and why are we going for a loan signing, a has-been, from a relegated side, Watford and Dawson, and we're all like, outraged by it, and what the hell? And I was said, I'd be surprised if I see him play for West Ham, and here we go, halfway through the season, and he's become one of the linchpins of our defence, and it is astonishing, good astonishing. I always say it whenever a player proves me wrong. I'm more than happy, because that means he proves me wrong, which makes it better for West Ham, and all credit to him. All credit.
Sorry,
to him.
I've got to give Luke credit where credit's due with this comment. This is a brilliant comment. There's an ancient proverb that translates brick wall. Dawson Ogbonna. It's so true though. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, we've walked away with the 3 points. It's a fantastic victory again for West Ham, and yeah, more importantly, another clean sheet still, and that's going to just pay dividends for West Ham's defensive mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're grinding out results, and we're, the one thing that we knew we were suffering from over the years, probably since Big Fat Sam left the club, is that we've been leaking goals season after season after season. And there's the first season when after Allardyce, when Bilic took over, was that great final season of the at the Boleyn, and we kind of disregard. We kind of ignored the fact that we were beginning to have problems in defence because it was such a great season, and we were scoring goals, we were scoring more than we were conceding, and that's what kept it intriguing and interesting. But since then, the goals against us have been almost relegated us, and so by being able to grind out a result against teams like Burnley, who would normally not easily beat us, but would get points off us, is a step forward. And having clean sheets, I mean, it just gives the whole defence a lot of confidence, doesn't it? So
it
fair
really
play,
does,
fair play.
It does. Let's have a look at the starting lineups then. We a few changes. Fabianski was back. We didn't even mention it pretty much in the early part of the Matchday Live. Didn't expect it, but he was back in the side. And then obviously the forced change was with Haller obviously leaving the club. Antonio came in. With regards to that lineup, still, were you surprised, or is that what you expected?
No surprise. It was what I expected.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to see anything different from that. I suggested earlier today to you that possibly Randolph might retain his place because we kind of weren't sure whether whether Fabianski was going to make it or not. I'm glad Fabianski's back. I've got nothing against Randolph, but I just don't think Randolph is. He's all right. Yeah. But he flapped, didn't he, against Stockport the other day in the first half, and it's the kind of thing that you don't want someone that's going to step in to do. So no surprises. You kind of that team picks itself at the moment, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do on Tuesday, because that's a game coming a bit too quickly for us. So
yeah, absolutely. Then we have a look at the Burnley side. We had a Burnley fan on last night, and they're not firing on all cylinders. Their strikers are not confident. They've only scored 9 goals this season. They don't concede a lot. But we all knew about that threat on Chris Wood and what he has done previously at West Ham. And this time, I think it was back in July, we got beat at London Stadium thanks to Jay Rodriguez' goal. But still, we nullified any really strong threat from Burnley today. They could not get through our defence. Chris Wood did not have a great game. And Barnes, he was first to get substituted. And then they brought on a whole new attack, Vidra and Rodriguez, and they did make a bit of a change in the second half. But, how do you kind of describe the first half for West Ham in comparison to the second half?
It was comfortable. First half for us was comfortable. They didn't get anything in the game to make us worry. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I don't think they had many shots on target in the first half. Is that the whole game?
That's the whole game, yeah.
Okay. I think if you look at the stats for the first half, they probably didn't have a lot of shots on target at all, to be honest with you. So I think we were really we're comfortable. What the massive difference that Moyes is making to the team this season is he's making us calm, comfortable, composed. If you recall, mate, if we went up a goal last season or seasons before, none of us were really certain that we would maintain that lead.
Would keep that lead, yeah.
Yeah. Now it was like as soon as we scored, I thought they'll get a little bit of a break throughout the game, Burnley, but I don't think anything's going to worry us because we look so composed. That defensive unit and the defensive midfielders are so composed now. They all know their jobs.
Yeah.
They all know the job they have to do, and there's a reason why teams aren't scoring against us, because we are sort of we're not flapping, we're not concerned, we're not we're far more composed, and I didn't see anything in the first half to suggest to me that Burnley were going to get back in it.
We'll talk about the game, and you're talking about being composed. And this image I'm going to bring up again is the same image I've brought up as about Craig Dawson. But Craig Dawson, what I noticed about today was he was so talkative in that back line. We know Augie's doing it as well, but having another player in there who's so confident to come in, and the amount of times he was telling the defence, calm down, you don't need to play it quickly, just calm it down. And that's a prime example of what he was doing. He was on the ground and on his way back up to get involved with the game. He was like, guys, calm down, just calm the play. We don't need to rush the game because we've got possession. We're holding on to the ball. We're nullifying their threat. They're holding on to the ball in their own half, and they can't penetrate through our defence. And it was absolutely great. But in the first 10 minutes, yes, still, you're right, we played really well. And then what stepped up was Benrahma collected the ball in the centre circle and he played a sublime pass through to a darting runner of Bowen, and this is where Bowen's so effective, when he makes those darting runs into the 18-yard box. He collects the ball, he feeds the ball out to Fornals wide. Fornals crosses the ball in, takes an ever so slight deflection off of me and heads to that man again, still that man that we rely on so heavily, Mikel Antonio, who puts the ball into the back of net to score to make it West Ham 1-0. I mean, talk to me about Antonio, mate.
Well, fair play to him. He is he's a player that throughout his West Ham career has been both chalk and cheese, isn't he? There's been times when Antonio has been sublime. There's been times when I'll never forget. In I think it was last season or season before, there was a chap that made a comment about Antonio, saying he's the best shit player we've got, meaning that. It was like, that we've become so accustomed to when the ball goes to Antonio, it bounces off his knee and goes 40 yards in front of him and stuff, stuff like that. And his ball control is not great. And yet David Moyes has gone, I'm going to turn you into a prominent striker, son. Stick with me. And I can't believe it. It's like, clearly seen something in Moyes has clearly seen something in Antonio that's made him go, I know exactly how I'm going to get you to play in this team. And fair play. And Antonio is absolutely loving his football at the moment.
Mate, he's so effective. He's so effective at the job he's told to do. He runs the lines, he runs through the middle, he drops back, he collects the ball, he knows how to hold up the ball, he brings in other players, he attacks, he goes forward, he tracks back, he defends. He literally is absolutely everything wrapped up into one. Yes, he's an awkward looking player sometimes. And I think there was one chance he had in the first half where the ball landed onto his chest and he volleyed it and he curled it out for a corner. For a throw-in. But I don't care. That's Antonio, because if he does that once in a game and gets a goal once in a game, then I don't care. He can do that every single time. But listen, you've got to give credit where credit's due. Antonio is just so important to us. And again, people always think
he's everything that everyone says Allaire wasn't. And I understand that. But this, it goes back to that. I mean, I promise I'll stop talking about it soon. The whole thing with Antonio and with Allaire, etc. Antonio fits,
after your show tomorrow.
After my show tomorrow, Antonio fits the system. Antonio fits the system Moyes wants, whereas Allaire didn't, and that's why we get the best out of him. The only trouble with that, mate, is if or when, and probably when, Antonio breaks down again this season, who are we going to get to play the way he plays? Because there aren't that many footballers around the world that play that kind of game. Although the concern.
Well, the only thing I'll say to that is the players. When you look at the players that West Ham are currently linked to in terms of the forward lines, you can see that they are the Antonio mould-ish player. The closest one I could find to Antonio is actually Dia. He looks like a bit like a carbon copy. He scores a lot of penalties, as well as he's explosive. He's so explosive, and he's borderline awkward still. He's not the most finesse finisher in the world, but he finds himself at the right place at the right time. And because he's explosive, he literally dominates defenders and just bullies his way through the defenders and gets himself into positions. And when you look at his goals he scores and his style of play, he does offer that similar style. That's why you can see the link. And that's why he's probably, I could say, the most realistic one for West Ham, because Reims are struggling. They desperately need money. His clause is about anything between 10 to 12 million pounds, and other clubs aren't sniffing about because other clubs don't play the West Ham way.
That's the thing,
and that's why it's realistic.
It is realistic, but there are comments throughout the week that Moyes has got players on his list that haven't even been mentioned yet.
Yeah, and I hope so. I think that's a good thing. I think that is a good thing.
But of all, I think either he or Milic are probably the nearest, because Milic is a bit more like an Arnautovic, a younger version of an Arnautovic, and probably not as big as a dick as an Arnautovic. And you're absolutely right. Dia is probably the nearest that you're going to be able to get to Antonio.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there aren't players out there that can do a similar job, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, Antonio, all credit to him. He's a transformed player, much loved at the club. You know, the guy, you can see he enjoys his football. He's thankful. He's a player that is thankful to be playing football as his profession. You know, coming from the lower leagues, etc. And he's doing the business, isn't he?
You can see his confidence coming through in his pitch
Exactly,
as well. And he is
exactly.
good. And do you know what you said as well? Like, he doesn't look 100% fit, but I tell you what, he still does a job and he performs really, really well. So it's great to have him in our ranks and performing week in and week out. Like he does.
And that goal, he was in the right place, anticipating what might be. You know, and that's what you want your striker to do. You want your striker to be in the box. That's the one thing that I kind of. I've gotten frustrated with our striker situations over the seasons. Is I want my striker to be in the box, anticipating stuff like that. And it's only when Antonio goes out wide, you know, because he's told to do that to run the channels. What happens then is we've got no one in the box. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and people keep going on about, you know, well, we're only winning 1-0, we're only by one goal, we're not finishing the games off. But if you look at the way we play, once Antonio goes and runs the channels, you've got no one that is going to be in the middle to pick up any of the balls. What's that? If we ran two up top, which we won't, but can you imagine Dia and Antonio running together? Trouble is, mate, Gary, it won't be both running together. It'll be either or.
Yeah, but you could imagine it. The point is, and could you imagine they would probably bully any defence? The two of them are just like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and they are a little bit like bulls in china shops, to be honest.
Yeah,
as the best way of describing them.
But then you can imagine any two strikers would do the same for us. And the thing is, that Moyes doesn't play that way. Burnley defence got bullied. Yeah,
they did, and that's a point I want to bring up, because obviously before the game we were talking a lot about Tarkowski, and then you've got the potential £30 million defender versus the defender we're signing on a free, and one stood out from the other. Now, to be fair, I thought Burnley's defence, they were okay. They weren't awful today, but there's no ifs or buts about it. They did get bullied, in my opinion.
The mistake they made for the goal. That's the sort of thing we would have done in the past. Yeah.
Well, still, something I do want to mention is that they did have a goal chopped off when Chris Wood, we thought broke the offside trap, played on, and the ball got crossed in, and Creswell put the ball in the back of his net. And I swear to God, myself and Cess were squeaky bum time.
Yeah,
we were panicking, mate.
I saw that, and I've got to be honest, I can't stand this new rule where the linesmen are told to keep their flags down to the last minute. I can't stand it. I think it's rubbish. I think it kind of ruins the game, and yeah, because then you got to sit back and you got to wait for bloody VAR, and then you got to work out if VAR is going to get it right or not. And thankfully, it got it right. But that was the danger, wasn't it? That you kind of thought, even whilst it was only at 1-0, it was almost like you're going to hold on, and we weren't holding on. I think that was the only real chance they really had, wasn't it? To be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, what they did though was at half time, West Ham probably expected ourselves to make no changes, but Burnley were probably going to make the changes, and they did, and they brought on Dwight McNeil, and there's no ifs or buts about it. He made a massive difference for Burnley. He caused us problems down the left hand side. Bowen and Sofal were struggling to kind of keep up with him. He was putting balls into the box, but fortunately for West Ham, our defence in the middle of the park were strong enough and to deal with any of the threat between Rice, Souček, Ogie and Dawson. We had that totally hooked up, and that's probably why Burnley made the substitutions and bringing Wood and Barnes off and putting Vidra and Rodriguez on. And I must admit,
it wasn't
Rodriguez
working for them with the crosses, so they thought they'd try and play their way through.
Yeah, and fair play to Rodriguez. I thought he was quite effective, and they did have a spell in the second half still, where we were kind of backs against the foot. We weren't pressing as much anymore. But I want to talk about substitutions in particular, and the moment when you could see Lanzini was going to come on. Myself and Cess were sitting there talking. We were saying there's a few options here. You could look at Lanzini's going to come on for Benrahma or Bowen or Fornals. For me, you couldn't touch Fornals today. He was so effective in his role. He was not just running all over the park, covering so much ground still. He was creative today, and he was actually building up a bit of a partnership with Benrahma. So if there was a game that I would have been willing to substitute Bowen, it would have been today. not because of his work rate wasn't good, just based upon the fact that I thought Benrahma and Fornals were building up that nice partnership today. Benrahma came off, he didn't look happy, mate.
No, he wasn't happy, and why would you be when you're actually having a really good game? You really feel that you're sort of like you're really in it. You're building up momentum. There's a chance today that he could have broken through the defence and scored his first goal for West Ham. He's denied it, and I think when people talk about negatives, I think that's what people are talking about. Bone has to sort his finishing out below par, gatework engine. That's all right. That gets in danger there, but doesn't do the right thing. Yeah, let's talk about Bone in a minute, but let's look at the Lanzini thing. Like, only negative today is Lanzini again. Apart from that Tottenham game, honestly, what has he offered us in the last 4 years? End product, he never hits the target. Only attribute is his ball control. And I think what's been frustrating for Benrahma is that you can see the difference between Benrahma and Lanzini. Benrahma was head and shoulder above. Are you showing off your new shirt?
No, someone's just saying wear your West Ham tops, and I say we are.
Benrahma was head and shoulder above Lanzini today, and it was disappointing that he was subbed. And I would be gutted. But this is I think, because at the end of the match day live, people were talking about how negative Moyes was, and I think that's what they were probably referring to, the fact that Moyes, we know what he's like with flair players. He doesn't necessarily love them. He wants players that run their socks off, etc., to the sacrifice of the flair. And I think Benrahma was hard done by. I think he was hard done by to have been taken off. I would have kept him on, and if need be, I totally understand what you're saying about him and Benrahma, Fornals and Benrahma striking up a partnership, but I get that Fornals played really well, but that's when I would have taken Fornals off and see how creative Benrahma and Lanzini would have been.
I get that, but I couldn't. I mean, I was saying this to Sess during the show. Like, today was a day that, I think there's a time and a place when you bring Fornals off, but he was so effective today in that midfield. He was like the underdog. He kind of went under the radar quite a lot today, but he was so effective. He was, like I said, he covered so much ground. He tracked back. He went forward. He was creative, and I'm not on the Lanzini. I'm not saying you're on the hater list in any way whatsoever, but I think it's harsh criticism when some people are saying in there about Lanzini. I don't think. I think he's starting to get back to his old ways of thinking.
Who, Moyes is?
No, Lanzini.
Oh, Lanzini.
I think there's something there. I think it's just whether or not Lanzini will work in a system of what Moyes does, which is, Lanzini would like to start with a clever player, and Moyes might not do that moving forward. It's going to always be one or the other. It's either going to be Benrahma or Lanzini playing alongside Fornals or Bowen. I don't see any of them kind of not starting the games, but I kind of mentioned it in my show last week. Is what second half of the season are we gonna have? Is Moyes going to start Is Moyes going to continue to play defensive and grind out another 4 or 5 wins in order to keep us safe? Or, with his comment that he made yesterday that he wants to win the next 4 games, is he looking at winning the next 4 games so he can unleash the real attack-minded potential that we have in the squad? And I don't know which it is, because it's all great winning 1-0 and getting the points, and that's what it's all about. But at the same time, people want to be entertained as well. And I kind of, look at this point, Nathan saying, grinding out results, 1-0s, etc. We have essentially become a Jose Mourinho of this 04-05 season. Moyes has changed West Ham for the better. So there's some fans that are thinking, don't care how we win, so long as we win. But there are other fans that are going, of course we want to win, but we also want to be entertained as well. And it's a real fine line. But I have to put my hand up here as well. Like, I'll go back to the Southampton game. I wasn't entertained watching the Southampton game. If anything, I was bored. I really was bored. I was borderline bored in the Everton game. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit bored in the Everton game. I wasn't bored today. I didn't see a boring performance from West Ham. This was I think Kent's put the comment right at the top. I don't even know if I'm going to see if I can find it. Today was a day that probably has shown why we need to have another attacking threat, another striker who can potentially put goals into the back of the net. Or, you know, there were several balls that were put into the box today. Yeah, highlighted the need today for another striker, and I completely agree with that. That's not taking anything away from the team than what they've done. But if we had maybe put a goal away in the second half to make it 2-0, we could have gone on to the exciting, interesting trickery of players that we've got, messing around with the subs bench and not grinding out those results. But still, we're grinding out results. We're winning. We're 3-0s.
What is it you want? What is it you want out of football? And you know, of course you want to win. We all want to win. Of course we do. You know. And of course we don't want to be fighting relegation battles either, but I think the thing that gets to some fans with Moyes is that he can almost make us a bit of a boring, turgid team. We had that with Sam Allardyce. He made us tough to beat, but he made us boring as well. And I'm not saying not saying we're back to that. I'm not saying we're back to that, but there's a danger that we could go back to that. And I'd like to think that if Moyes talks about wanting to win the next 4 games, that is because I want to think that's because I want him to unleash the potential in the team, our attack-minded progress for the second half of the season.
I don't know. There's probably an argument there for both sides of it. There's an argument there that, you know, I look at today's game and I actually was entertained in the first half in particular. And the second half was okay. It was an entertaining game of football from a neutral point of view. But we are, you know, is what Moyes doing progressing the club, West Ham? In my opinion, it absolutely is. Whether that means that we're not going into a 4-3 game. You know, I've heard Nigel say his point a lot about you want entertaining football, but you certainly don't want 4-3s and losing the games at all. Obviously, you'd rather be on it. But do you know what? Still, I don't know if I want 4-3s because we're conceding 3 goals a game. 1-0s right now is doing me because it's. I think people are putting in the comments there. I take 1-0 every week. Not playing well right now, especially after the couple of seasons we've had. The move to the London Stadium is bringing stability to the club. That is what Moyes is doing, and we've got to give him massive credit for that. And
absolutely, it's not the point of, like, you know, we're delighted. It is progress because I think Peach made the comments earlier. If I can find it, bear with me 1 second. I think he said, "What's going on? We wouldn't have won this a year ago," and he's absolutely right. By the way, Peach, we watch his Hammers 11 video.
He's wild.
It's entertaining. Yeah. But he's absolutely right. So it is progress. Absolutely, it is progress because we wouldn't have won that a year this time last year. But the problem is, though, it's you do. I think it's a weird one. We're all in lockdown or semi-lockdown or whatever. So you're sitting at home looking forward to a game where you want to be. Today, I wasn't bored, but I agree with you. I think the last couple of games I was bored too. Southampton game and the Everton game, I was sort of bordering like, it's becoming a bit turgid. And I don't want to feel that about West Ham. I want it to be quite level, and yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't want to have to concede 3 goals and try and score 4 to win a game, but Moyes sometimes needs to, Benrahma should have stayed on, for example, because he was a good outlet. I always think that Bowen should stay on to the end because he's always a good outlet, and to keep, because they're the only entertaining players we've got. I don't think Lanzini's got it anymore, to be honest with you. He's not as entertaining as Benrahma. I think he's an okay sub now, but I get why people would have been disappointed that Benrahma was subbed.
Yeah. He made a few other subs. It was Yarmolenko came on for Bowen at the end. So there was only 2 subs made actually today. What's this? Is that a Bowie gold disc display in the background still?
Yes, it is.
Yarmolenko came on for Bowen. Bowen was substituted yet once again, and I was okay with the Bowen substitution. I know he gives us definitely an outlet, but we walked away still 1-0 winners, and I can't fault it. Again, I'm going to say it. I was entertained today more than I have been in the last 3 or 4 games.
It was a bit of a nail biting game. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
At
Because
the end, it became that. Yeah.
yeah, because we kind of we did sit back and we did start to start to protect the 1-0 lead, and we
we
were
did.
giving them
And
more
look at that
space.
comment. We did waste opportunities. I mean, I think
Yeah, we did.
Yarmolenko was through on goal. Could have squared it across to Antonio. I actually think Bowen could have squared it across to Antonio. I think Lanzini could have squared it across to Antonio. So there were several opportunities that could have put the game to bed, and we didn't. And that probably highlights the point that Kent made earlier on in the comments, that it just shows that we need that other threat up top.
The trouble is, mate, I don't think we're going to get anyone.
Oh no.
I don't. I actually, you think we will, but the reason why I think it is because he had Odubeko on the bench. He had a 75% fit Antonio. He had Odubeko on the bench. I know what he was waiting for, which he was waiting for in the Stockport game as well. He was waiting for us to go 2 or 3-0 up before Odubeko got off the bench to play. It wasn't happening in the Stockport game, and it wasn't happening in today's game. So even if we did go and buy another striker, that striker is likely to sit on the bench whilst we're only winning 1-0.
Yeah.
And for that, how many players are going to want to come and sit on the bench and only get 3 minutes, 2 minutes?
I don't know if it's like for like, and it brings I don't know. I
Well,
mean, it may be all different.
Odubeko is meant to be a bit of a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Another really strong striker. People go and watch him on YouTube for the clips that there are there. You'll see the way he plays. He's good. All right, he's young. He's only played in the under 18s and under 23s, but he's good. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Tuesday night, because Antonio will not last 90 minutes on Tuesday night. And if that's the way Moyes is going to play, what is it going to be? Another backs to the wall, against it's going to be that's going to be a boring game if we don't go and strike them down early on in the game. So if he does go out and buy another striker, what's going to happen?
Still, this is where I'm going to leave you and let you finish off the comments. You okay with that?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm good with that.
Right,
okay.
Cool. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Stell's going to stay on and go through the comments. Hit the thumbs up, of course. If you are new and you are watching, please subscribe. Then hit the bell notification. That lets you know when we do a show. And Stell will update you about all the shows that we've got coming up. We do have opposition fan lined up as well, Stell. So
great. Excellent.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Right,
West Ham win. Woohoo!
Right, let's finish off with your comments. So, Long Dark, what was it, a handball in the game and a penalty? Yeah, it should have been. It hit the player's hand, so we should have got a handball and a penalty. But because now the rules changed slightly, because his hand was down near his body, it wasn't given. But there you go. If that was against us, it would have been given. Garino, 50th birthday on Monday. So happy with 3 points today, but being greedy, I want another 3 against West Brom and hat-tricks for Odubeko and Benrahma. Happy birthday, Garino. I know what it's like to be 50, mate. So well done for reaching that milestone. And Long Dark says, all downhill after 50. Garino reckons it's all downhill after 21. What else have we got? Crazy. The only criticism I have with our game, we tend to pass back to Fabianski too many times. I'm running out of fingernails. I don't mind that, start the whole start again process and pass it back to the keeper when there isn't a ball to play forward. I don't kind of mind that, so long as we do something with it. Luke, what a time to be alive. Mate, when we win a cup, that's the time to be alive. Jerry, Bowen was quite good. He gets the ball in. He gets in the ball a lot, so cannot moan about him hiding. He just needs to release the ball sooner. Don't forget that he scored for us. Yeah, and he's one of our top scorers. Is he one of our top goal scorers this season? So, Joan, no flights into the UK, no signings. Yeah, that was mentioned by Matt the other day, and that could be. So maybe Moyes isn't looking that far away for another striker. Maybe he's looking at the Championship. Watch out for the show tomorrow night. Got quite a few ideas for that. So listen out for some of the ideas I've got for that show. Don't want any more socks. Just another 3 points. Oh, for your birthday present. Who misses the lamppost? Sorry, but I think played correctly. I maintain it. Played correctly. He would have got goals for us. So there you go. Ali. Antonio run like a tank. Good performance today. Man of the match. Yeah, he deserved it. And considering he's not fully match fit, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Nathan, West Ham points after 18 Premier League games in 2015-16. 26 West Ham's points after 18 Premier League games today. 29. So we're doing better. And the last time we did that in 2015-16, we finished 5th. Who knows where we might end up? Who knows? Allaire isn't Premier League material. He's a Farmers League player. I'm sorry, but Holland and Germany isn't the Premier League and La Liga. Fair enough, mate. But what I said in my show last week, and I'll probably repeat it again tomorrow night, is that Ajax are in the Europa League. So let's see how he fares in that. And if he does well in the Europa League, does that mean that that's even more shit than the Premier League? You know, when you're playing teams from around Europe? Don't know. Long Dark. Burnley's defence got bullied today. Yeah, we gave it to them today. Yeah, we took it to them, and it's the sort of game that they would play against us. Gary, yeah, we said this one. If we ran 2 up top, which we won't, you can imagine Dia and Antonio running together. They would completely bully any defence. But unfortunately, that's not the way Moyes plays, is it? Unfortunately, Joan, we should have kept Hugill. He's a giraffe. I know you're just trying to wind me up there, Joan. Eamon, good evening, mate. Maybe a certain young striker on the bench for us today plays the same way as Antonio, and that's why Moyes likes him. Odebeko mentioned that already, absolutely. But I like to see the boy given a chance, and you maybe he'll get that chance on Tuesday night against West Brom. I don't think he'll start, but I just don't think Antonio's got 290 minutes in his engine at the moment. He's still not fully match fit, but you never know. Gotta love players like Antonio Fornals and Sofal, pure work rate, and that's why Moyes likes them, and totally get that. Joan, Yarmolenko should have scored late on. Yeah, we saw that, and unfortunately, yeah, didn't happen. What's on the wall behind me is a David Bowie gold disc. Marcus, 3 points, clean sheet, and up to 8th at the moment. Love it. Up to 8th and 4 points off Liverpool in 2nd place. All right, I know teams above us have got games in hand and all that sort of stuff, but you just win the games that you got, hey. Crosshammer, good evening. Yama should have passed to Antonio though late on, would have been a goal. Absolutely agree. That's something they got to work on in the training field, I think. Mark, Joan, Yama proper greedy, but got an earful in the change. Bet he got an earful in the changing room. Yeah, probably. One new, good evening, mate. We scored, we won. Stop looking for the cracks, lads. Not really looking for the cracks. Forgive me, I don't mean to sound negative at all. I'm just kind of I'm kind of concerned that we've done really well with our squad this season. Not a lot of injuries. We kind of managed it, when we've had players out on, COVID isolation and social isolating and all that sort of stuff, and we got by, but I'm just sort of worried if we get a few more injuries, if Antonio gets injured again, what happens then? That's the sort of thing I kind of worry about. Rob's projector wall. Oi, can't remember when we were this safe up the hammers, and that's it's great in that respect. But I hope what that means is Moyes is going to allow there to be a little bit more sort of flair play once we reach that magical 40 mark. Garino thought it was offside the moment the pass was made. I guess you're thinking about their disallowed goal. Lee, how are you? 4 clean sheets. We got a great defense, great midfield, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a boring game today. It was a solid team performance today, and that's what we want. Crazy. Burnley won't go down. Very good win today. They got to be careful though. They might get sucked into it, but they are getting sucked into it. So, but I kind of agree with you. I think they've got enough in their engine not to go down. Jay Woods, I would have taken Bowen instead of I would have taken off Bowen instead of Benrahma. It's difficult. I think they were all playing. They all had a good game, but forgive me. I just think we're not seeing the Lanzini we once knew and loved, and I don't think he needed to change it. To be quite honest with you, that's in my mind. Marcus, should have been 3 or 4-0, but for poor finishing or too many touches, but still a win is a win. Happy Hammer. Absolutely. Garino, Yama and Bowen are too greedy at times and don't look up, almost desperate to score. Well, they want to make their mark, but I agree that, there were better options for both. Bowen does all the hard work, then tries to do it again. Yeah. but I think he's a decent player. T bonus to sort his finishing out. It is below par. Great work engine, gets in dangerous areas, but that just doesn't do the right thing. Yeah. Joan was impressed with Ben Rama. Ben, bottom three, that's there at the that is there at the moment. Will go down. I don't know who's in the bottom three at the moment, mate. West Brom, Fulham. I don't know who else. Crosshammer, wear your West Ham shirts. I've got the third kit from my son. Wear your West Ham shirt. I've got the third kit from my son. We've not lost since wearing it on match day. Right. Jeremy, good evening. Great defence, particularly Dawson on Bonner. They are forging a great, really, really great defence there. Mark, we're above Chelsea. Why would Rice want to move down to mid-table side? Marcus Bowen's work rate was second to none. All it lacked was a goal. Oh, yeah, I agree. And when he let's not forget he scored quite a few goals for us this season. And yeah, I like him. I think he's I like him. I think he's a decent player. Alan, Ogbonna was brilliant again at one point, even running down the wing, putting a good cross. Did you see that? It's like, what was he doing there? What was he doing there? Forgive me for jumping a few comments. Jeremy, when was the last time we did not concede a goal for 4 consecutive matches? I'm not counting the Stockport game, but I fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to look that up and see when that last time was. Luke, Lanzini looks like a player of old to me. Played well for me. Played well today for me. He played all right. I'm not saying he was rubbish, but he's just not the Lanzini that I recall when we first brought him in. My cursor has jumped, so forgive me. I'm going to miss quite a few comments. Crazy. The only criticism I have with our game play, we tend to pass back to Fabian. We've mentioned that one. To be honest, we should have won 4-0 today. For me, for the way we played and the opportunities we had, I was very entertained. Yeah, it wasn't a bad performance at all. Good evening, Neil. What is it? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Neil, do you ever sleep? Happy Hammer, hello, happy winners from South Australia. Mark, another clinical 1-0. Mark, the other Mark, repeating myself, football is a pointless business. It's a points business. Doesn't matter how you get them as long as they're on the table. Yeah, I agree with that, but I do want to be entertained as well. T, to be honest, my whole life West Ham have mainly lost, so I'd take a few seasons winning ugly. It's just nice for the win for once. Yeah, not disagreeing with that at all. W&P, good evening. 1-0 wins, less entertainment. As seen by Benny Lanzini subs, Benrahma was taken off by Moyes for being free attacking. Lanzini did what he was told and sat in. Yeah, but this is what we're going to have to become accustomed to with David Moyes. That's the way it is. We got 1 goal up, and then he wants to batten down the hatches. Crosshammer, I believe Moyes has a point to prove, and we're lucky to have him right now. And Man U will realise next season when we kill it. Yeah, Man U are top of the league at the moment, though. Are they still top of the league? Don't know. They might still be. Jumping a few, so do forgive me for that. I don't care. Sign Josh King and Deere for 25 million for the pair. Let's not hold back and drive on this season. For me, King is still not the answer. I really don't think it is. But Deere, he looks good. Mark, Moyes should have been given a chance after he kept us up last time. Wasn't happy when he left and thought it was a bit below the belt. Yeah, a lot of people thought that at the time. Garino, fine line for a manager, attacking football and getting points. We are promised that under Pellers and often got tonked, and Moyes seems to have got a good balance and can only see us improving. I want to say, I do. Do forgive me. I don't really hope you don't think I'm sort of Moyes bashing, but it is a fine line that he's got, but like I keep saying, we're 3 points away from safety this season. 3 points away from safety, more or less. And then I want to see Moyes do. I want to see him unleash the full attack-minded potential that we've got in the team. Trudge, some games are scrappy due to the appointments. Beats getting bullied. Totally agree. Don't deny that at all. They're a hard team to beat, and it's great to have got the 3 points off them. T, if we finish top 10 this season and we've only just survived last season, I'd be over the moon. Would be great progress, all baby steps, and to be that that's a big jump. Yeah, I agree with that. A comfortable mid-table finish, I think we would all take that all day long. Nathan, we say 1-0, but how many times have we hit the bar this season? Yeah, we hit the bar as well today, didn't we? Trudge again. Moyes needs a couple of years to implement. Now is not the time for work. Please forgive me if you think that. It's not a voice of discontent at all. Not at all. Neil from Down Under, Moyes is building a team that will bring interesting football, but it takes time. And when you're building a team from the relegation zone to be a regular top 10, yeah, that's good point. Good point. Better decision making in the final third, and we win by 4-0. See, some of us want to win 4-0, not all of us. Epic. Moyes is onto something right now, but let's not forget that this is his first good season in a decade. That's a really good point, mate. And I know it will get better. And I did actually say it myself, that we're probably going to have to go through quite a, not turgid, but quite a, there are going to be games, like the last few games we played where we scraped 1-0s. There are big games where we are going to be backs against the walls. But I think there are other games. I think like the Brighton game, for example, that was the game we expected to sort of go out and really go at that team, and we didn't do that. I don't think it's Burnley one was the sort of game we should have gone out and tried to win that, comfortably. But I agree, it's gonna take time. It absolutely is. Excuse me. T, I don't want to sound like a Lanzini hater, but I believe he doesn't get enough criticism by fans. He's almost untouchable. Well, he does get the criticism from me. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying he's not the player that we had from the past, unfortunately. Antonio was knackered at the end and was telling all the other players. So if you read, yeah, but that's the thing. Why not give the young lad Odebeko 10 minutes to see what he could do? But that's only because we were winning just 1-0. I reckon Odebeko would have got his chance if we were winning by 2 goals or more. Ben, we need more quality and squad depth, but things are improving. Mark, Bowen does all the hard work, then tries to do it again. Surely someone has told him to release it earlier. Yeah, they all want to impress, don't they? They all want to impress and get a goal. Everyone wants to score, but you're absolutely right, Mark. Sometimes it's better to just pass the ball. You'll be commended for passing the ball so someone else can score than trying to score an impossible goal yourself. Desjardins, good evening. Benrahma and Lanzini lack finishing. They missed game clinch chances. Well, Benrahma had a really good game today, I think. That's so true that the striker that joins will know he will be second choice, but he will also get a lot of opportunities with the Antonio injury record. Yeah, whoever comes in is going to have to accept the fact that they are going to be second choice. That is so true. Mandy, Moyes will keep playing Antonio until his hammy snaps again. You know what? You're right. You are absolutely right. I'm going to jump near to the bottom if I can. Sorry for missing out a lot of comments. Nathan, 29. We've said that one. Maybe we didn't. 29 points after 18 games in 2021 is West Ham's best ever start to a Premier League season. And after the season we had last season, who would have thought that, eh? Who would have thought that? Mark Rashford, we have 2 hamstrings, Antonio and Odebeko. Yes, we need a striker soon, perhaps. Did Odebeko? I don't think he did suffer from a hamstring injury. To be honest, he might have done. Yeah, no, I'm getting him mixed up because I was thinking of the other player that's out on loan that had an illness. Troj, I would rather wait if it meant we get the 19-year-old Czech lad. He's out injured though. He's got a metatarsal injury, and he won't be ready again till March, which means no point buying him now because he won't be able to play at least till sort of March, April time. And I think we need a player now. To if we're not going to use Odebeko, if Moyes is talking him up and then he doesn't use Odebeko, why, but I guess Odebeko's there because he's the only striker we currently got. Yeah, Hlozek is the name, and he's out injured at the moment. Hungary Championship player. There's Adam Armstrong that people have been talking about. There are 1 or 2 others that Moyes might be looking at. There are even 1 or 2 that Moyes might be looking at who aren't getting game time in the Premier League. So there are a few players out there that Moyes might be, and he likes, Moyes likes a player from the Championship, doesn't he? I thought we gave it to Barnes and Wood tonight. Really really refreshing. Yeah, we that's why Dyche had to change both strikers, didn't he? Luke, bringing players in now has to be about what they can offer us, rather than us being on our knees desperate to bring them in. 100% agree with you. We're not desperate, are we? And that's why I hated the fact that people kept talking about bringing an Artovich back. I kind of would have got it if we were sort of languishing in the bottom of the league, but we're not. We're in control. You're absolutely right, Luke. We're in control as to who we bring in, because we're not desperate for players. Because we are getting by whilst the injuries are sort of going well for us. English Yardie, Stel Haller will be fine. He wasn't used properly. He's not a lone forward. Ajax play 3-3-4, more suited for him. He will do the business. I totally agree. He definitely will. Victor, I think we can sign players from abroad. They're given special dispensation. Oh, that's what Joe mentioned about them being able to travel over. Probably. I actually don't know. I mean, if all the flight channels are closed, how would a player come over? It would be interesting. Come over by, I don't know, ferry if we sign a player from France. Ben, I hope we smash West Bromwich Albion. I'm 100% with you. I hope we smash them as well, mate. I really do. I want to see Big Sam go down. I really do. Trodge, Ben Rama's best game yet, but still needs a really good performance. And he had a good game. You could see the boy was disappointed to have been taken off. Dawson for England, T. Not sure yet. Foe, I need my beware of the Stella Suaku hoodie. I did talk to my merchandise manager. Didn't seem that keen, Foe. So I'm going to have another chat with him again. Can't be bothered, can he? Raja, good evening. Moyes made the wrong decision to take Ben Rama off. Ben Rama could have scored a goal. Ben Rama is level above Bowen, Lanzini and Fornals. I don't think he's above them. Sorry, Raja. I disagree with you there. He's still learning the Premier League. But I'm disappointed that he came off. I wouldn't have taken him off. Foe, I bet Trump wishes he had a wall as solid as Dawson of Bonner. Let's not get into politics here. Ian, good evening. You do as you're told with Moyes, or out you go. It's very true, and that seems to be happening not only on the pitch but also off the pitch as well. Because he would have sanctioned despite the fact that we've only got one striker, a makeshift striker at that, he would have sanctioned the selling of Haller. I bet the board didn't want to lose 20 million on him, but there you go. So Benrahma played well defensively, great pressing, and tried to take on opponents. Agreed, which is why it was a disappointing that he came off. Scott, Moyes said we could have played better and be more dominant. He wants us to do more. Keep your attack-minded players on them, mate. Kieran, 4 a.m. in the morning. Good night, mate. Hope to see you tomorrow night on my show. Oops. What else we got here? Martin, I'd like to think if Moyes got us to Europe, he would have us play more positive. Unfortunately, I don't think he will, mate. No issues with Benny, how Benny played, turning into a solid Premier League player. 17 Leyden. It is very obvious that for some unknown reasons, Moyes does not rate Benrahma and only has played him the few times in reaction to fans' criticism. I'm kind of disagree with you. I think Moyes' attitude is, I'll bring a player in, but they come in slow. He did that with Bowen. Came in slow, everyone was screaming for Bowen to play and start, etc. But he just took his time, and I think he's doing exactly the same. If he didn't really fancy him, he wouldn't have started him today. He would have probably played Lanzini instead at the start. So I kind of disagree, but this is what Moyes does. Moyes will play as certain players, but then he'll just take them off at times when you just think that they're building up steam, and then he takes them off, which is a shame. Shroj, if that Ogbonna effort that hit the post went in, we would have seen Odebeko in the second half. I think I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I think that's what Moyes waits for. He waits for the game to be kind of safe, and that's when he makes the changes. James, 3 half seasons from Moyes, and he's won 2 relegation battles, and now is up to 3 points off Champions League place in 3rd. Leave Steluasu alone, Dalek. What does Dalek want to do? I want to exterminate Stel, but keep on. Cheers, Dalek. Crazy Cole. Good day. How's it going with Neil from Down Under? He's yeah. I'm starting to write strangely. What a beaut. Suss it out. You were right, crazy. Alan. Going back to the 85-86 season, we actually won quite a few games 1-0. I went to most of the games that season. This season reminds me of that great side. Keep calm and let's see what happens. Yeah, good point, mate. Yeah. Hamza. Benrahma has added another dimension to this team. Direct, however, Moyes doesn't rate him. I disagree. I don't think it's that Moyes doesn't rate him. I think it's just Moyes' way. It's just the way Moyes is. You know, he'll give that. You know, if he didn't rate him, he wouldn't have started him today. Ben Hughes, well done, Hammers, playing well from a Liverpool fan. Always like West Ham since Di Canio. Thank you for joining us, mate, and thanks for the comments. Much appreciated. Wayne Banner, new striker will need to hit the ground running, but once he scores 20 plus goals, the big guns will buy him off us. It's the way it goes, isn't it, mate? Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, though, it would be nice if we actually bought a player then sold him for more money than we buy him for. So if we sold a player for more than we bought, you know, then fair enough. Hammers Mikey, Deer and Milic are the two we are in contact with right now. Heard from a source. Well, mate, there's so many sources out there. You don't know who to believe and who not to believe. Listen out for my show tomorrow night. I've got loads of other transfer stories to talk to you about. Quite a lot from last week, but there are a couple of additions. So look out for that tomorrow. Epic, Omar Richards would be a quality signing. He's out of contract in the summer, and Ben Johnson isn't good enough. I totally disagree with you, Epic. I think Ben Johnson is good enough. I think he's doing you know, when he gets his chance, he's doing okay. Hamza would like to see us taking a look at young championship strikers playing second fiddle to Antonio. Can only but can also nab a few for himself. Which strikers do you have in mind, mate? Mark, it was helpful for us that Barnes and Woods came off. They didn't really do much to I think even if they stayed on, I don't think they would have scored, to be quite honest with you. Scott, my Polish mates thinks Milic has lost it. Well, Milic has had quite a lot of injuries, 2 big injuries in his career. He refused to sign an extended contract at Napoli, which is why he's not been added to the squad. So he hasn't played a minute for Napoli this season. Didn't you, Richard, didn't you raise a grand shaving your hair? And Anton could have done. I did, mate. I did. God, you remember that? That was in lockdown during the summertime. Yeah, you're right. Anton could have done the same. Mind you, Anton's not got a lot of hair anyway. So, Dalek, why don't we go for Ryan Brewster? Because he's already gone to Sheffield United. Local lad born in Chapel. Yeah, but he's only just gone to Sheffield. Maybe if Sheffield go down, maybe they'll have to sell him. Who knows? Troj, Milic is 6 million. Yeah, set alarm bells ringing. Well, that's apparently what we offered, but Napoli want almost double that. Ben, West Ham need Danny Ings in form and still has a few years left in him. From a Liverpool fan, too old for us, mate. I think, well, with respect to him, I think one thing that Moyes has said is he wants to change the way we do our transfer business. So I think we will no longer see all these players coming to the end of their careers. I think we will see younger players in their mid-20s. We need it. I think we're the second oldest squad in the Premier League at the moment. So I think he needs to. We've got problems coming up if we don't start addressing the issues that we've got in the squad. We're quite short of cover. There are 1 or 2 players that maybe will come through the youth ranks, the academy, but at the same time, our second oldest squad in the Premier League. If we don't sort it out in the next couple of transfer windows, that could come back to bite us. Garino, think flights are operating, just need a negative test and isolate. I don't know what's going on out there. Garino, Morgan Sanson is in talks with Premier. No, mate, no. Talked about him so many times, and apparently his club, Monaco, wants something like 21 million for him. And he's been talked about with links to West Ham for God knows how long. I don't think he's the sort of player we need, to be quite honest with you. What we need is we need a defensive-minded midfielder. There's a name coming up in tomorrow's show from the Championship that I think we could well do with. or we need a striker. But Sanson is an attack-minded midfielder. I just don't think for what? I don't think he would fit into our squad, and not for the money that his team want from him. Foe, I would like Milic, was a quality player, had 2 ACLs injuries though. 6 to 10 million is a decent punt. Yeah, agreed. Irish Tommy, what do you think Moyes will do as regards to Antonio De Becco against West Brom? Good question, mate. Don't know. I don't think Odebeko will start. I think Antonio will start again. But I think it's what Moyes has been expecting in the last 2 games. And today's game as well as the Stockport game. If we go 2-0 up, you'll see Odebeko come on. If it's only 1-0 or 0-0, then unfortunately, Odebeko might get 5 minutes at the end of a game or something. Eamon, foreign players will drive through Europe via car, then catch a rubber dinghy from Calais to Dover. Bo Dalek, Sheffield won't sell him. This is name's gone already. Only recently joined from Liverpool. Yep, just mentioned that. Let's jump down to the end here. Irish Tommy, we're awful in the final third. We need so we need our defence and midfield to keep earning us points with clean sheets. Yeah, it's what a lot of people have been saying. We wasted a lot of chances today, or we missed a lot of chances today. Mark, I would start out Antonio against West Brom. Keep the same starting 11. That's probably what's going to happen. Nice. Aardvark. Interesting bench today. Lots of youth in there. Yeah, but unfortunately not used. That's the thing though, mate. Garino, happy to see us build slowly and intelligently after Pella's flash Sully's cash and failed. Yep. T, still, who's the best Greek player to ever play for West Ham? Has there been a Greek player for West Ham? What's his name? Guy on the wing. Oh, he's Lazaridis. He was Greek, kind of Australian Greek. So I'm going to go with that one. Lazaridis. There you go, Lazaridis. Because I can't think of another. He had Greek heritage. So I'm going with that because I can't think of another West Ham player that was Greek. Oh. So there you go. Greek link, Lazaridis. Big Ben Davis, Fabianski was fine today. His distribution was off at times. His distribution is not great. Ivan Toney all day, Foe once, but he's not cheap, mate, is he? So, and I think we've got other teams. There are other teams in the Premier League looking at linking up with him. One new, the points need to be made. We are unbeaten since I got my 2-hour patches. Laurel and Hardy. Nice hard part. We are boring, but it's a phase we have to go through. We're still short of some decent players. I don't think we're totally boring. I think the Everton game was a bit boring. The Southampton game was a bit boring. I don't think today's game was boring. But yeah, you're right. As I said earlier, we're going to have to go through a phase before, Moyes, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of players in this team that Moyes is discarding. He's gotten rid of Allaire. He's trying to get rid of Anderson. Diop is not playing, even though we're told he's been injured and stuff. There's a lot of signings that Pellegrini made that Moyes is not using, and what he wants to bring in. You're absolutely right. I think Moyes needs, in order to make this his team, I think Moyes needs another 6 players, but that's not going to happen for another couple of windows. We might get one in this window. He'll probably want 2 or 3 in the summer window to start building the team that he wants to have. English Yardy, Stell, you're asking me a question. Does the under-23s employ the same system as the senior team? Will Odebeko be able to play the Antonio role? We are the only team in the Premier League that plays a lone striker. No, they don't. They adopt a more, mind you, they're not doing well, but they don't play a one up front. But Odebeko can play that sort of role. Maybe not to the same effect, but he can run the channels and so on. He's a strong young lad, and he's a goal scorer. I mean, he is a goal scorer. So, and I think that's what we need. But you're right, mate. If we don't play to Odebeko's strengths, then the poor boy might suffer the same fate as other strikers that we've had recently. Theo, good evening, mate. Deer is not that much like Antonio. A more apt comparison is Mohamed Bayo in the 2nd division. Your man don't know that his release clause is more than 12 million, more like 20 plus. Who's release clause? Dia. Well, I'm reading the same. That is, 12 million might do it for him. And also, the French clubs are in financial difficulty at the moment with the collapse of the TV rights. So 12 million might do it. But Dia. It's interesting because when I did my show last Sunday, I talked about a number of players. Which players can actually play in a similar role as Antonio? Dia actually came up as one of them, to be honest. So I don't know. Scott B, I think we need to click in the final third. Good players, but a lot of wrong decisions. Yeah. Scott tells you, long live the alpacas. Let's do. The only transfers we're getting are porn stars to the board. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? English Yardy. Moyes is predictable, to be honest, with his tactics. When does his contract end? His contract is about to be extended for another couple of seasons. We can buy Milic for 13 million. That's the asking price. That's what they're expecting. But I think 10 would do it. If Josh Da Silva is one of them, Foe, but he's not the one I'm thinking of. But I will get to that tomorrow. Watch tomorrow's show. Greasdale wasn't suggesting him. Need a centre forward and a centre midfielder. Nice Hardvar. You're always on about Bowen being subbed. I am always about Bowen being subbed. But the bloke works his socks off. Let's not run him into the ground. Mate, I'm a fan of Bowen. What I highlight is the fact that he gets subbed too often for me. I don't like it. I don't like that fact. Fulham down to 10 men. Who are they playing? I don't know because I'm not following it at the moment. James Bong. Now I can enjoy the rest of the weekend watching the teams above us drop points. Life is good looking up with the Moyes. Scott B. Milic is pronounced ick, not itch. Milik. Okay. I don't know. I've already been pulled on that one by the Polski. Okay, it's Milik and not Milic. Grill player on the Winf is what? Greek player on the wing is Steluaku. I used to play on the wing when I played, and then when I started getting slower, I played in holding midfield, and then when I got even slower, I played in defence as a right back, and I was pretty shit there, to be honest with you. Fulham will be doing well. We're doing well until the sending off. Who are they playing? I don't know who they're playing. Should have called the Alpaca Zamora and Edward. Garino, not necessarily boring, but getting by till Antonio gets back. We'll do the same in the past. Nathan, Michael Antonio, 17 goals, assists in 27 starts since the start of the season. Not bad, is it really? Odebeko to get 90 minutes against Doncaster Rover. Victor, I doubt he will. I like to think he will, but I doubt he will. 180 watching, only 46. Where's the like spike? Thank you, lads. Appreciate that. Theo, Mipo has to start in the cup now if we want to move up in the league and keep Antonio fresh. I would like to see him play in the league as well. Crazy. The only Greek player I know for West Ham was Musak. Fasalava. Oh, hang on, that's my takeaway. Not bad there, mate. Not bad. Oh, they're playing Chelsea, are they? Cool. Okay. All right, lads. Thank you very much. This was meant to be a preview, and we're an hour in. No, a review, and we're an hour in. Right. Where are we? So we've got the West Ham Weekly coming up tomorrow night. Look out for that. I don't know what time I'm going to be on. I'm not going to promise you. I was half an hour late last week. So do watch out for that. We're going to be talking about the two games in brief. I'm going to be talking about the ambitions of that. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Jeremy, what do you think about the board's ambition if we do not sign anyone in this transfer window? I'm going to talk about that tomorrow night, mate, because we're only four games away from safety. So what happens then? Will the board take that risk and say we're not signing anyone? We'll scrape 4 wins, won't we? In the next half of the season, which means that we'll have Premier League football in the second half of this for next season. Sorry. So look out for my comments on that tomorrow. What else am I going to be covering? A player watch. You know what's happening with the players around the squad. Balbuena update, Diop update, things like that. And then, of course, going to be talking about all the transfer stories of the past week. So look out for that tomorrow night. And then we're going to have the preview for the West Brom game on Monday night. We're going to have the match day live on Tuesday night. Yeah, there might be another show between then and between that and next week's game, next weekend's game. Sorry. So that's it. Have a very good evening, everyone. Enjoy your, and as been said, now we can enjoy the crazy. Can't wait for the transfer news. Oh God. I tell you, mate, it's ridiculous. Still, it depends on my dinner time. It sure does. I'll be cooking tomorrow, I think. Don't know. Maybe the missus will. Who knows? But yeah. So watch out for the show tomorrow night. Watch out for our preview on Monday night. Watch out for the match day live, and then other shows coming up after that. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it, and see you tomorrow.